What if I told you that the most dangerous part of you isn't what you show the world, but what you hide, even from yourself? You smile, you work, you love, and yet you feel a silent emptiness that never goes away. You say you're fine, but something inside you knows you're not. Carl Jung called it the shadow, a soft name for a brutal truth. There are parts of you you've denied, rejected, forgotten, but they're still alive, in the dark, waiting. Most people spend their entire lives running from who they really are. But running isn't freedom, it's a cage. Today you won't run. Today you'll face the truth you never wanted to hear about what lives inside you when no one else is watching. Have you ever wondered why you keep making the same mistakes, even though you know you'll get hurt? Why you sabotage yourself when you're close to achieving something good? Why you feel unworthy, even when others tell you otherwise? Why, in the silence of the night, you feel like something is wrong with you, but you can't quite name it? Carl Jung believed that each of us carries a forgotten part within, a part that's buried, rejected, exiled. He called this the shadow. The shadow isn't some external monster. It is you. Everything you didn't want to be. Everything you learned to hide in order to be accepted. It's born when you swallow the rage you wanted to explode, when you lie to protect yourself, when you say yes out loud but scream no inside. The shadow grows in the silence of repression, behind the mask of normalcy, in the desperate attempt to appear fine, while you're falling apart inside. And the more you ignore it, the more it takes over. In addictions, in breakdowns, in decisions you can't even explain. Maybe right now you feel stuck, confused, like something invisible is pulling you down. That force has a name, and it lives inside you. It's the shadow knocking at your door, waiting for you to finally have the courage to open it. Imagine a man, much like you, who lives his life chasing success. He's seen as strong, balanced, admired by everyone. But at night when he's alone, an inner voice whispers words of doubt and fear. He has everything he ever wanted: career, relationships, status. But happiness? That always seems just out of reach. He feels empty, not for lack of achievements, but because of a deep sense of disconnection from himself. Carl Jung once said, "What you resist persists." The man doesn't understand. He keeps going through the motions, ignoring the signs, until one day in a moment of crisis, he explodes. During an argument with a friend, the words shoot from his mouth like arrows cutting deep. He freezes. How could he be so cruel? How could he hurt someone he loves? What he doesn't realize is that the anger he expressed wasn't random. It came from something much deeper, a repressed anger toward himself. He hated parts of his own personality, his vulnerability, his need for acceptance, his fear of failure. These emotions had been swallowed for years until they finally erupted and caused pain. Jung explains that the shadow is formed exactly this way. The shadow is the hidden part of our psyche that holds all the aspects of ourselves we can't or won't see. When we ignore this part, it doesn't go away. It builds up, thickens, and eventually shows up in the most unexpected ways. Each time we avoid facing it, it grows stronger, and it becomes a real shadow, shaping our decisions, our perception, even our relationships. Nietzsche, on the other hand, spoke about the need to embrace the chaos within in order to give birth to a dancing star. He challenges us to face our weaknesses, our shadows, because only by doing so can we become something more real, more whole. But what do we usually see? Fear. Fear of looking inward. Fear of confronting what's hidden. Have you ever felt that? That sense that there's something inside you that can't be spoken, can't be directly faced, but it's there, invisible, shaping every choice, every thought, every action. The shadow isn't just something dark or negative. It holds the parts of you that you denied, but it also holds the potential for your growth. It's like fertile soil, waiting for your attention. But in order to transform, you must look directly into the eyes of what you fear the most. And that's exactly what you avoid. Because what you don't want to see, what you're afraid to acknowledge in yourself, might be the very thing keeping you from truly living. The time has come for you to face the truth, not just about others, but about yourself. You see yourself as rational, as someone who acts consciously, in control of your thoughts and emotions. But what if I told you that, most of the time, you're not in control? That your life is being driven by something invisible, something you never wanted to acknowledge? Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." That's right. What you call fate is nothing more than a reflection of the unconscious forces within you. The choices you make, the patterns you repeat, the cycles that keep appearing in your life. They're echoes of the shadow trying to be seen. Fear, insecurity, anger, all the things you didn't want to see or accept are still running the show. You live a life of appearances while your true self remains hidden, suffocated, forgotten. You're living under the rule of a ghost you created yourself. And the most painful part, you don't even realize it. The good news is, now that you've seen it, you can no longer unsee it. You're standing at a turning point, at the edge of a psychological abyss. The moment that separates the pain of an awakened consciousness from the pain of continuing to run away. Jung gives us the key. Integrating the shadow does not mean eliminating it, but recognizing it, accepting it, and ultimately using it as a resource for growth. Integrating the shadow isn't simple. It's not a switch you flip or a magical transformation. It's the hard work of looking inward, of acknowledging what you've been trying to hide, and finally accepting the parts of yourself you've been so afraid to face. Healing begins the moment you allow yourself to feel the pain of who you really are, without masks, without defenses. Dostoevsky once wrote, "Man is more sensitive to pain than to beauty, and it is through his pain that he finds his true humanity." The pain of truth is intense. It tears through the thin layer of perfection you've built around yourself. But it's from that pain that transformation is born. When you integrate your shadow, when you allow yourself to be whole, your true self is revealed, no longer fragmented, no longer split between who you are and who you pretend to be. By recognizing your shadow, you begin to see how it shows up in your relationships, in your choices, in your frustrations. You start to realize that what you project onto others, your criticism, your judgment, is nothing more than a reflection of the parts of yourself you refuse to face. Every time you accuse someone of weakness, you're denying your own vulnerability. Every time you feel rage towards someone, you're projecting the anger you don't dare release within yourself. This is liberation, realizing the shadow is within you, and that by acknowledging it, you disarm it. You strip it of its power. You begin to become free. And though the path to integration is long and challenging, know this: true freedom lies in being who you really are. Not the polished, shaped version the world expects, but the raw, honest, whole version with all your flaws and strengths. And it's only when you become whole that true peace begins to emerge. The shadow then is not the end of a journey, but the beginning of a new one. Integrating it doesn't mean getting rid of it. It means embracing the parts of yourself you're afraid to see. Because in doing so, you finally become whole. And wholeness, that's where true freedom lives. But before you go, let me ask you this. Who would you be if you stopped hiding from yourself? Who would you be if you looked your weaknesses, your anger, your pain in the eye, and chose to keep going anyway? Who would you be if finally you accepted yourself as you are, not as the world sees you, but as you truly are, with all your contradictions, with all your humanity? The journey of self-knowledge is not a straight line. There are no guarantees, no magic formulas. It's a walk through the unknown. Where it leads, only you can find out. But by facing the shadow, you don't just learn more about yourself, you free yourself. You free yourself from the lie you told yourself about who you're supposed to be. You free yourself from the need to be perfect, to be accepted. And maybe, for the first time, you find a deeper meaning in your life. Not a meaning imposed by the world, but one that's yours. Because in the end, what you're most afraid of becoming is exactly what you need to become in order to be free. So I leave you with one final question. Do you have the courage to look within and finally meet yourself?